baseball draft and we decided to live broadcast for you guys. So stay tuned and hear our commentary as we go throughout the draft.
You hear that glorious, glorious sound with the no surprise there. Petrillo, being the coward that he is, and as about as inventive as a Carrot Top show, takes Mike Trout with the #1 overall pick.
No surprise, Cabrera with the #2.
Don, you are a coward.
No, the #3 pick is, sitting here thinking for a while. Who's he going to go with? Okay, Paul Goldschmidt, #3, no surprise. I've got the #4 pick, and I was seriously considering Clayton Kershaw, but in light of his DL stint that started today, I've decided to revamp my draft strategy and go with Andrew McCutchen.
All right, so the first big, question mark of the draft here is at the 5 spot. Do I take Kershaw, hope that he comes back fit and ready to go? I genuinely don't know what to do here. I guess I just, I don't believe in Chris Davis overall with the batting average. I mean, there has to be some kind of regression of the mean. Guys just don't hit 50 home runs anymore. And at 30, is he more valuable than a potential, 2020 guy given the lack of steals we have? To me, this pick comes down to 2 people. It's Adrian Beltre and Carlos Gonzalez. And given, what I can get out of Cargo, if he's got, if he stays healthy for the whole season, it's a no-brainer. I got to go Cargo and just hope the hell stays there. God damn it. I hate you. FYI. All right, so I don't want to take these people. Here we go. Cargo.
There we go with Mike with Carlos Gonzalez. #6, we got Connor, who was in our fantasy football league, finished in 3rd place.
Hooter, hooter, hooter.
And he takes Hanley Ramirez, first shortstop off
Brilliant.
the game. Robinson Cano, #7.
Who took Cano? Luch?
Luch takes Cano.
Luch, is he even in the draft?
Yep. Okay, we got our boy Matt Pinto, who manages our Instagram account all the way down in Florida.
Love you, Matty boy.
Here he is with the 8th pick, and he takes Chris Davis. Let's hope he could, rematch his 50 home run season from a year ago.
I don't think he's going to hit 50. But, in that spot, to me, it's between Beltre and Chris Davis again. To me, it's a no-brainer. With the, first base is kind of overhyped every year about how deep it is. I see it as the least deep, it's been in probably the last, 5-6 years. You jump on Chris Davis, you hope for the best.
You got 4 or 5 of those first basemen way up there at the top. All of them should probably be first-round picks. And after that, you got a decent drop-off. But even down at the end of those drop-off, you don't lose a whole lot of production. Okay, we got Adam Jones after Davis and Bryce Harper after Jones.
Who took Harper? Stevie boy.
Yeah.
There we go, Philly Steve, getting it. All right.
Okay, we got Kershaw still on the board at the 11th pick.
Ooh, Cal is left with a decision right here. Don't do it. Oh, dude, don't give me that. All right, Petrillo's trying to put out in the conversation that Kershaw just slept wrong on the neck. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you.
He's talking about you, Darvish.
Oh, either way. You know who said he slept wrong on his neck last year? Clay Buchholz. How much time did he miss the second half of last season?
Yeah, quite a bit.
It started with sleeping on his neck wrong. It turned into major injury, just that nagging kind where you couldn't even necessarily put him in your DL slot, open up a spot where you could pick up that replacement pitcher. You just had to keep him on your roster. With your first pick, I can't take a guy, who's sleeping on his neck wrong. It just scares me.
Well, we got Kershaw with the first pick in the 2nd round. A little surprised he fell to the 2nd round, but that's understandable. Like I said, rumor has it he might have a torn ligament somewhere in the shoulder.
Yeah, but at the 12th pick, with a guy of Kershaw's talent and what you can get as far as upside goes, you're getting an absolute steal. Okay, what's the do me a favor? We're going off right now. Paul Sport, right now he works for, he used to work for Baseball Perspective. He just started his own site, painttheblack.com. Fantastic guy. Every year he comes out with what's called a starting pitcher guide. Now, me being the degenerate gambler that I am, I check into it every year. It gives me, little tips and tricks, stuff to look at as far as mechanics go. So we're going to be checking in with him periodically throughout the draft when we, see those pitchers who, aren't necessarily the bigger names like the Yu Darvishes and Clayton Kershaw's, those top-tier guys. We're going to be checking in with them, seeing, where they're at. Actually, I wanted to pull up, if I could, right here. This is his tier system. So from the first tier going so far, all we have is Kershaw. Still up, Darvish, Wainwright, Verlander, Scherzer, Sale, Strasburg, Fernandez, Hernandez, and Madison Bumgarner. Now, it's funny. He starts off his second tier with Garrett Cole. I want to see how long these guys last before we start getting into the Price, Hamill, Shields, McCain, Matt Cain, tier of guys. What are you thinking about that? What are you thinking about that kind of ranking system up to this point?
I'm a fan of it. I think maybe, I don't really have much to say. I'm sorry.
Okay, I mean, to me, the only one that I'm questioning whether or not he is in that top tier is Chris Sale, but, he makes a good point. People are so worried about the overuse of Chris Sale, they're asking whether or not he even belongs in that tier. And as a result, he's somehow become kind of a steal. All right, just to update you guys, Prince Fielder, Tulowitzki, and Edwin Encarnacion off the board. First baseman going quick. Joey Votto!
Woo! To counter your point on Chris Sale, and I've got no numbers to back this. I'm just a fan of the guy. He attended Florida Gulf Coast University. We all watched him make that Cinderella run last March. And my sister's an alumni from Florida Gulf Coast University, as is my cousin. Got a lot of family there, so he's definitely a guy that's on my watch board. All right, Chris Carlucci, waiting on him right now. Like we said before, he surprised everyone with Cano in the first round. Let's see what he goes with here.
I can't believe that. Now, let's recap that first round one more time. So we're looking at, I'm just trying to see, picks off the board.
Giancarlo Stanton in the early second. Might be a reach, but who knows? Definitely got some MVP caliber to him.
Luch is just going crazy right now. So to recap that first round real quick, first off the board, Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera, Paul Goldschmidt, McCutchen, Cargo by myself, Hanley Ramirez, Luch with Robbie Cano before, Chris Davis, Adam Jones, and Bryce Harper, Adrian Beltre, and Ryan Braun bringing up the rear, Clayton Kershaw. Now, that's a crazy comp by your cousin down there, right? We got Ryan Braun, nobody knows post-steroids where he's going to be at, and Clayton Kershaw, post-DL stint, nobody knows where he's going to be at. Your boy is making a swing for the fences play at this draft here. Personally, that's not my style. I don't want to take talent off the board. This is coming from a guy now going with Carlos Gonzalez in the first round, so I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot with that argument. But, to me, I just don't see how you go two guys who have huge question marks next to them in the first two rounds.
No, Mike, if anyone followed me during fantasy football season, I take the opposite approach as Mike, and I swing for the fences any chance I get. I think McCutchen, the ceiling on him is... We've yet to scrape the ceiling for him, so hopefully he comes through big for me. And Evan Longoria with the 19th overall pick.
Yeah, I don't know what to do here. There's a couple guys who I'm seeing up in front of me that I love. Really, to me, it's a coin flip between... it's really between Cargo and Adam Wainwright. How do I pass on Yu Darvish? How do I pass on Yu Darvish?
You know me. I've been planning to take Carlos Gomez in this next slot
after
all my mocks.
I know you have, but in how many of those mocks was Adam Wainwright there? How many of those mocks was Yu Darvish there?
A surprising number of them.
Wainwright?
Wainwright. I've been getting Wainwright in the third round sometimes.
Yeah, but you're not. I'm not getting Wainwright in the third round with you drafting in front of me. This goes back to game theory. If you know the guys you're drafting with, you know how they think. Hey, this is like when I let you get Gronk ahead of me in the football draft because I had to take a running back. To me, I can't have both Cargos on my team. I got to go with Wainwright here. He's the safest pick.
And Mike goes down on Wainwright, and I'm going to go and swing for the fences here, and I'm going to take you, Darvish.
Wow. Wow. I don't trust it, man. I don't trust that neck. Wainwright has looked better than any of the top 3 guys going into this spring. Last year, he blew me away with how long, he lasted, how many innings he went. Guy was absolutely phenomenal. Yu Darvish has the chance. Now, I didn't know this. Did you know no one has struck out 300 batters since Curt Schilling in 2002? The only guy I see this year who's got a shot at breaking that now, what are we on, a 12-year run of that, is Yu Darvish this year. So I can understand why you took him. Trust me, I was looking real hard at him. I just don't see how, given that neck injury, the neck scares him more than anything. He had the lower back last year. Now he's got the neck into the upper back this year. I just don't know. So Jacoby Ellsbury off the board, followed by Felix Hernandez. And we're moving.
Oh, you brought up 2002. It was a great year for fantasy baseball. It was my first year ever playing fantasy baseball, and I walked away with the league. You guys might not remember, but a young man by the name of Mark Pryor came up halfway through the season and only pitched half the season and finished 3rd in strikeouts overall for the year, following only Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson. Okay, Petrillo taking his sweet time with back-to-back picks.
Beautiful, loving it.
Mike, I'm a big fan of Wainwright. He's a guy that even being drafted in the late 2nd, early 3rd, I thought he was a sleeper.
Yeah.
He might be the top pitcher overall this year, and definitely a potential 20-game winner, backed by that St. Louis lineup.
Yeah, I mean, last year, my thing with that St. Louis lineup, and we saw it in the World Series last year, being the diehard Red Sox fans that we are, they hit when they get runners in scoring position, which means they set up basically all their pitchers, for wins. You got to love that aspect of it. Really what gets me with Wainwright is the control is back. He's looked better post-surgery. He looks stronger. He looks more dominant. And to me, he's the only one in that top tier of guys who I just listed. Again, Scherzer, Verlander, Sale, Kershaw,
Speaking of Verlander,
Darvish.
Verlander off with the first pick of the 3rd round.
Wow. How do we have Verlander gone before Cargo, Steven Strasburg, Puig is still up there, Bautista? This is crazy right now. Okay, so we got a couple of us left here. Let's see, what do we got going on?
Okay, just waiting on one more pick, and then it's back to my pick. We've got Carlos Gomez, Steven Strasburg, Freddie Freeman, Jose Bautista, and Dustin Pedroia at the top of the board, followed by Yasiel Puig.
Okay, so if it does come to you, right, Stanton will finish top 5 in home runs this year.
Stanton's gone.
No, I know. That was Chris's argument for taking Stanton in the top second round. All right, so assuming Thomas being the wild card that he is, who do you like coming out of here, given your druthers?
Oh well, he just took Dustin Pedroia. Big surprise coming from a Yankee fan. We don't necessarily like that side of the family, seeing as we're all Red Sox fans on my side of the family. Now, Carlos Gomez, a guy that I was planning to take in the 2nd round, is now fallen to me in the 3rd. And now I'm going to have him, McCutchen, and Yu Darvish on my team. Gomez and McCutchen, both legitimate
20-20 threats. Yeah.
20-20 threats with 100 runs, 100 RBIs.
Yeah. Absolutely no-brainer for you. Just like this pick, Freddie Freeman is a no-brainer for me. Like I said, guys, first base to me is very, very thin this year. Well,
I got to tell you here, Mike, that I don't think my whole world was rocked today with the announcement of Kershaw being put on the DL. I've been training for weeks, months even, taking Kershaw with the number 4 spot. I was a little worried coming to this draft, but McCutchen, Carlos Gomez, Yu Darvish, can't really complain too much about this lineup.
I'm not mad at it. I got the, to tell you the truth, in half my drafts I was doing it. To me, if Cargo can stay healthy, to me, him and McCutchen, not that different. If anything, I give a slight edge to Cargo, just because of the volume he puts up and the numbers he puts up, almost, totally fantasy relevant, seasons in like 100 to 120 games, similar to what Jacoby Ellsbury did last year. If I can get a full season out of Cargo, I wouldn't be surprised if he passed by McCutchen. So, sitting here with Cargo, Wainwright, who was to me my number 1 pick for a pitcher coming into this season, and Freddie Freeman at first base, the last one in that tier for me of the elite first baseman, I can't be happier.
Okay, we just saw Carlucci take Yasiel Puig.
Oh my God, he is the best! I love drafting with Carlucci. If you hear his name on SportsCenter more than 3 times in a week, guarantee Lucci spending all his fab on him. To me, tell me if I'm wrong here. What's the difference between, say, Yasiel Puig and David Wilson? The difference between Yasiel Puig and, Rashad Jennings. To me, Puig came into camp a little bit larger, not as quick. He's already having injury problems in spring training. He did most of his production in 1 month last year. I'd be terrified of him, in the 3rd round this year. Like they say, you can't win your draft early on. You can't win your league early on. You can't lose it. And to me, picking a guy like Puig in the 3rd round, you might be losing it.
Well, I'm standing opposite of you with the Yasiel Puig thing. Even if Yasiel Puig, performs 3/4 of what he was able to do that second half of the season last year, he's still a 3rd-round pick, and he definitely has potential to be a top 3 outfielder this year.
Really?
Oh, I think 40 home runs and 30 stolen bases isn't out of the question.
Okay.
In a powerhouse Dodgers lineup. We saw them play last weekend in Australia, and the first day, he went 0 for 5 out of the leadoff spot, but Mattingly moved into the 2-hole, and I believe he went 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored and 3 RBIs.
Like I said, to me, the biggest thing with Puig is he got all his production last year done in essentially the month of July. He tailed off hard at the end of the season. Didn't win Rookie of the Year last year because he couldn't keep up with that torrid rate that he had. He's already shown people up. Guy reminds me of a young Jose Reyes, and we all know about Jose Reyes. If you can keep him healthy, if you can keep him motivated, he's fantastic. But,
all right.
I just don't see it.
To end round 3, we've got Steven Strasburg, Shin-Soo Choo, Cliff Lee, and Albert Pujols.
Cliff Lee to calcium?
And Jose Bautista to start off the 4th round. On top of our board here, we've got
Pujols. Jesus.
On top of our board here, we've got Madison Bumgarner, Justin Upton, Chris Sale, Ian Desmond, Jay Bruce.
All right, so Cal so far has Adrian Beltre, Prince Fielder, Cliff Lee, and he just scooped up David Price. Ooh, that's kind of a reach right there. David Price over Madison Bumgarner, Chris Sale. I can't say I love that pick.
I have David Price ranked in the same tier as the 2 of those guys.
Really?
We watched the way he pitched last year, and for a while there, Tampa Bay's pitching staff as a whole was unhittable, anchored by David Price. We lost him a couple games due to injury, but the guy's got some stuff.
See, the biggest problem I have, the ERA is still 2.86. Problem is his FIP went way up last year. What it comes down to is that reduction in velocity is why the Tampa Bay Rays consistently trade their ace pitchers, right? You look at a guy like David Price who's been pitching at the level he's been pitching since the 2008 ALCS when he broke our hearts with his stupid camo glove. I still haven't forgiven you, David Price. You watch, he was coming out throwing like 101, right? I mean, he never settled into there as a starter, but now he's starting to dip lower into that 94, 93 range. How long is it going to be before those 94 to 95 mile an hour fastballs are now 91? They're not getting him by as much anymore. My thing with David Price, I think this is the year where he starts to come back down to earth, and some team is going to overpay for him, before it sets in. That's what the Rays do, I am just going into a diabetic coma. All right. All right, who else we got off the board here?
Well,
Steve grabbed Ian Desmond and Gene Segura right after him. Now, those two have been going it's like playing pairs doubles in every mock draft I've done. Those two going back to back every single time. To me, I put Desmond in that top tier. Segura, once again, he got all of his production in what, a month and a half, 6 weeks?
Don't forget though, we're playing in a head-to-head league, and having a 40 stolen base guy at shortstop can definitely give you a leg up and win a category. Okay, we got Steve Belo taking 2 shortstops in his first 4 picks with that Gene Segura pick.
Who?
Steve Belo, with picking Ian Desmond this last round, now has 2 shortstops on his roster.
I'll tell you the truth. I was targeting Desmond coming back in the 4th round. To me, Desmond is the second best shortstop out there. I honestly have him neck and neck with Hanley Ramirez. I don't even put Tulowitzki in that category anymore. I understand the production there, but I can't trust him. I really can't trust him. He screwed me over one too many times. That's the relationship I have with Troy Tulowitzki. He understands. He doesn't return my phone calls either.
Okay, guys, as we approach Mike and I in the 8th and 9th spot coming back, we've got Justin Upton, Chris Sale, Jay Bruce, Alex Rios, and Jose Reyes atop the board. 3 outfielders here, and I'm wondering what to do, seeing as I've already got 2 outfielders on my roster. And really not too many starting pitchers that I love. I know I said before that I love Chris Sale, but the injury risk on Chris Sale does have me scared. He's got a very unorthodox way of delivering the ball.
Yeah, let's bring up, this is what we have the guide for. Let's bring up Paul Spore's report on him. Did you close that tab?
I may have closed that tab.
Oh, you bastard. And we're on your mailbox, so we can't even bring it back up. I hate you. Let's look at Chris Sale. The constant fear that it'll break down pushes his value down to the H tier. Yeah, I can't get a full report on them. They actually do. It's really interesting. In the starting pitchers guide, they break down the mechanics, which I love. I'm going to try to bring that back up, actually, once we're done with this round here. Where did this thing go? No, not that one. Whoop! Hey, guys. How you doing? All right.
Okay, Jose Reyes going to Chris Carlucci's team. Chris Carlucci's really swinging for the fences here.
Dude, he is just going nuts right now. I am loving this. And already Petrillo is bored. So why are you doing this? I hate you.
Well, you see, we knew coming into this thing that Petrillo thought with the first overall pick and taking Mike Trout that he was just going to walk away with the league. While there is a huge advantage to having the first or second pick and landing a guy like Mike Trout or landing a guy like Miguel Cabrera, who I have ranked in my personal rankings as serious difference makers, more so than you might think even. You can't win with just one guy.
Right. So now I'm sitting here with a very tough decision. Who do I take here? We basically have no more shortstops we're taking for quite some time on the board. We have no more second basemen we're taking for quite some time on the board here. I already am locked up at first base. I have my anchor at pitcher. I'm not really feeling Chris Sale. I don't love Justin Upton. I don't know. This is one of the hardest decisions I've had to make so far.
This could be an area where maybe you go relief pitcher and try and get a huge edge in that steals category with a guy like Craig Kimbrell, who is above and beyond the best reliever in the league.
I did a mock earlier today where I grabbed Kimbrell early. I don't see how I can take...
A good strategy in a head-to-head league is to grab 3 mid to high tier relievers and hope that that gives you an edge in saves. But if you do end up grabbing a guy like Craig Kimbrell, like Mike just took, it allows you to play with two relievers and maybe perhaps try and gain some ground in another pitching position.
Right. I mean, that's really what I'm going for here. Now, I got Wainwright up there. Granted, he's not going to match the strikeout totals of a guy like you, Darvish, so I got to do what I got to do. And, of course, you take Chris Sale, you little bitch.
I am worried about his mechanics, but FGCU. Go Eagles.
No, I knew where you were coming from with it. I knew for certain that's where you were going. I told you a number of times my personal concerns with Chris Sale. Call me, a sheep, whatever you want to do. I fall into that category where I am not 100% sold that this guy is going to be a 200-plus inning guy, who's going to give you that consistent production. I just see that with, he goes in that all-out, herky-jerky motion, gives it his all, and I mean, no pitching coach is going to tell him to stop because he's already like, a Cy Young caliber pitcher. You know what I mean? Just seems like the kind of guy who's going to throw his back out, throw his leg, whatever it may be. I just don't want a guy like that on my team. I don't need it. I already have Wainwright. I'd much rather grab somebody who's going to give me, what does Kimbrell give you? Like 120, 130 strikeouts himself as a closer? That supplements my strikeouts to where I can now have Wainwright as my number one.
And we get Buster Posey with the last pick of the 4th round.
Justin Upton and Zach Greinke also off the board.
Zach Greinke's a guy I like. Now, he goes underrated in fantasy circles because his strikeout rate just isn't quite as there as it is with a lot of the other elite pitchers. But
well, he's also got his FIP is consistently higher than his ERA. His FIP is consistently lower than his ERA, which tells me, we should be seeing a better overall line out of this guy, and it just hasn't materialized. At a certain point, he is what he is. But to your point, he is fantastic. He is extremely underrated when it comes to fantasy. And to get a guy like that, now, we're talking top of the second tier of pitchers. To get him in, what are we talking about? Basically the 5th round. Pretty good value, if you ask me. Plug that guy in for you, Chief. Your job never ends so good.
Now, a guy we've got approaching here on our board is Joe Mauer, who, has never been a fantasy elite, but never that top echelon because he plays the catcher position, and with being a catcher in the American League or even National League, you get some days off.
Right.
This year, they don't plan on playing him at catcher at all. First base, DH when needed. Mm-hmm. And we could see a spike in an extra 30 games played. What kind of production do you think that's going to provide to a guy like that?
The problem with a guy like Joe Mauer, we keep hearing of guys like Matt Wieters or, Buster Posey being that Joe Mauer with power.
Joe Mauer goes back-to-back with Buster Posey to the same team.
Wow! Petrillo is bored out of his mind. What is he? Is he going to play one of these guys at first base maybe? I don't see the value in getting a guy like Joe Mauer or Buster Posey to play at first base. The value is having that, lower-end first base production from your catcher spot. I don't see an uptick that much in RBIs given the lineup construction of Minnesota right now. I don't see a massive uptick in home runs. So really it's just going to be more at bats to his always consistent, always beautiful average. So. I just don't see the value in getting a guy like Mauer if you already have Posey. But, when has Petrillo ever done anything by the books, like such as signing up for this league?
All right, now I'm sitting here. There's one more pick to my pick. We've got Alex Rios, Matt Carpenter, Craig Allen, David Ortiz. Alan Craig, sorry about that. And I got to tell you, I love David Ortiz as a Boston fan. And I've wrote him to fantasy championships years past as everyone wrote him off, but now we're talking about a 5th-round pick and a guy that's going to be turning 40 sometime soon. Matt Carpenter, I think, is who I'm going with here, even though I have Alex Rios ranked higher than him. I just have 2 outfielders already. And while Matt Carpenter's numbers, he's not going to put up another 126 runs. His batting average on balls in play was a little too high for comfort last season. I think it's still a guy I have to take. How many elite second basemen are you going to get a chance to grab?
I was looking at him earlier. You're going to do what you're going to do. I personally would stick away from him because a lot of that value comes from the 78 RBIs. Now, his batting average with runners in scoring position last year was somewhere insane. What were we talking about? About 400 last year?
Yeah.
Like, disgustingly high. There's going to be some regression to the mean. Guys are going to get on base for him, no doubt about it. But wouldn't you rather take the safe production of a guy like Adrian Gonzalez, who's going to get you that 100 RBIs, and that solid batting average? Even if the home runs never materialize, he's solid, he's consistent, and the runs have to go up now with, the guys got hitting behind him, especially if you believe in your boy Puig.
All right, I just got suckered in by Mike, and I took Adrian Gonzalez.
Matt Carpenter, here I come. Woo-hoo! No, I'm kidding, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with the guy who I think is, consistently underrated, because he played on such a terrible, terrible Texas team last year. A team that, disappointed, that let people down. I'm sorry, on a White Sox team that let people down. I didn't even know he was traded to Texas. You look at that outfield right now in Texas. You got my boy, the young kid coming up, Lenois Martin. You got Alex Rios, and you got Sin-So Chu. That is just an absolute smorgasbord of RBIs for a guy who's proven he has the power to hit it out of park like Texas. You add in the fact he's got a bunch of base stealers on that team, a bunch of speed. They're going to run their asses off and hit a lot of home runs. And trust me, folks, with that pitching staff and the fact that Darvish ain't playing until June, they're going to have a lot of catching up to do. I'm going Alex Rios.
Like I said, I love the Alex Rios pick. I was just thinking, Petrillo taking catchers back-to-back this early in the draft is a little reminiscent of his drafted 2 quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds for our fantasy football league. I want some people just don't learn from their mistakes.
No, they don't. They don't. Who did he grab? Who was the second quarterback he grabbed?
He grabbed Drew Brees in the 2nd round, and then he took Tom Brady in the 4th round. I'd also like to point out that preseason I offered Noshan Moreno for Tom Brady, who was going to be riding on his bench, and he denied me in a very vicious, mean-spirited way. And I'm very happy I walked away with the championship, and he did not.
Alan Craig off the board. We both might get another shot at Carpenter, to be honest with you.
I don't see it falling another 12 picks to us.
Now, were you going to grab Mauer if he came back to you?
I was going to grab Mauer if he came back to me.
See, I was hoping to talk you out of it because I wanted Mauer real bad. Like I said, this isn't a guy who's going to get you. This isn't a guy who's going to get you an extra, like 20 home runs because he's playing first base every day. At the end of the day, they've shown statistics, that have shown that guys who leave catching to go to first base, they basically just stay at the meet because they're getting older there's that general regression of the mean that comes with age. So just the fact that you're not behind the plate getting that extra wear and tear on your legs, it's going to let you, I guess, stay at career norms for a little bit longer. And with Joe Mauer, that just means, like a 15 to 18 home run season if you're beyond lucky.
And a 330 batting average?
Right. So now you add an extra, 30, 40, 50 plate appearances to go with that 330, 340 batting average. It just bolsters your batting average week to week. That's good, and I'd love that for my catcher position to have, like I said, a low-end first baseman. But to have to play either Posey or Mauer at first base, you're sucking all the value out of it, aren't you?
To a degree. I think Joe Mauer will be productive in any position he plays, and it's nice to have that catcher eligibility or first base eligibility on both of them. I know we've been saying Buster Posey could be an MVP for a couple of years now, and he just quite hasn't reached fruition on that. But this could be the year. I'll buy into the hype again.
Who's that?
Buster Posey.
Well, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he the NL MVP in 2012? Not gonna lie. No, that was Kemp. He was the World Series MVP. That's what I was thinking of. Who did Petrillo trade me Garcon for?
I can't quite remember. Jose Altuve going in the mid to late 5th round. How do you feel about that, Mike?
I come on. Is Matt Carpenter still on the board?
Matt Carpenter was off the board 4 picks ago by Chris Carlucci.
Oh, there's a surprise. No, not 4 picks, 3 picks ago. We got
3 picks.
after me it went Alan Craig, Matt Carpenter, Hunter Pence, and Jose Altuve. I liked Hunter Pence. I liked Alex Rios just a little bit more. Once again, I'm a regression to the mean guy. I mean, Jose Altuve, what is JP going for here? Let's take a look at his team construction up to this point. It should just say JP. Connor, my guess.
He's the teabaggers.
Teabaggers, there we go. Edwin Encarnacion, Gene Segura. One sec.
And Billy Hamilton off the board, a guy that people think will legitimately steal 70 bases this season. Mike and I are both of the mindset. I'd rather be a year too late on him than a year too early.
Agreed, but that's how Steve plays now. I've been in a number of leagues with Steve. I know how he plays. I love playing with the kid. Fantastic fantasy player. He had the same conversation with me about Bryce Harper. All right, so to be clear here, real quick, JP grabbed Edwin Encarnacion, Gene Segura, Adam Jones, and Steven Strasburg. He has a little bit of speed with Jones, a little bit of speed with Segura, Encarnacion, the power, Altuve. I mean, but it comes down to roster construction at this point. Now, Jose Altuve, we know what he's going to do, like a 280 batting average and 20, 25 steals, decent amount of runs, not a lot of RBIs, but you got to figure he's he is kind of the heart and soul of that Astros lineup,
And we got Johnny with the last pick of the 5th round taking Koji Uehara.
Wow!
As a Red Sox fan, I love Koji. Yeah, we all watched what he did last season in the postseason.
As a reasonable human being, he's in his 30s. Like, what is going on here?
39 last season, will be 40 by the end of this season.
And he's never made it as a closer before. Christ almighty.
Quite a bit of a reach.
This is like picking David Tyree in the 3rd round of the 2008 fantasy draft. What are we doing here? He was working at a Denny's by November.
And Johnny follows up the Koji pick with Matt Kemp.
Oh my God, I love your cousin in this one. This is fantastic. I'm so glad that we got such a different mix-up and mash-up of guys in here. That's tough. Oh, wow. Petrillo lets us know that Kemp is on the DL. I'm so glad he's here. I want to let him know how glad I am that he's here.
Now, we got a guy here on the board that I really like. I've got him ranked higher than most people on my board. Starling Marte, who, in my mind, shouldn't have fallen this far. I probably would have taken him with the last pick if I wasn't sitting ready with 2 outfielders and Alex Rios on the board. What do you think of him?
Starling Marte? I feel like, you're just not getting enough. Just looking here now. For me, to draft a guy in my first 5 rounds, 6 rounds, you got to have some kind of power. I mean, Starling Marte, his last 2 years, under 20 home runs combined. Granted, high average, high steals. It's my same problem with drafting a guy like Jose Altuve. I don't see it. I don't see Billy Hamilton as a 5th-round player. And that goes beyond whether or not he'll turn into this year's Deke Gordon and just get, benched. He'll be a pinch runner. But, Starling Marte's proven he can hit the major league level. I just don't see, given the amount of guys, like, okay, who would you rather have? Starling Marte in the 5th round or Rajai Davis in the 20th round? To me, it's no-brainer.
I think Marte is a guy that I really like. I think he's a potential 100-run threat this season with close to a 300 batting average, and those 40 stolen bases from last year sure were nice.
Well, who knows, Chief? You might have a chance at him with 2 more picks. I'm certainly not taking him.
Again, I'm sitting with too many outfielders to really consider it at this point.
Why? You have 2 outfielders. Why can't you fill out your outfield with Starling Marte right now? You got Adrian Gonzalez, McCutchen, and Cargo. You draft him. You've locked up steals, and you already have 2 nasty starting pitchers.
I'm just not quite feeling the, having 2 guys from the Pittsburgh Pirates in my outfield or having 3 outfielders this early in the draft.
See, here's my thing now. I'm honestly looking at Will Myers at this point.
Will Myers is a guy I really like.
Love it.
Really like. AL MVP last year.
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. Sorry about that. Who knows what he could do with full season under his belt.
That's a tough one for me because I'm also dealing now with I have the 2 outfielders, the 1 great starting pitcher, the great relief pitcher, the first baseman. I got to start filling out my lineup. To me, Ryan Zimmerman, I see him. I know. I see him being, a first baseman before the year's over because they don't want to wear him out. To me, he's the last great third baseman on the board other than Pedro Alvarez, and I just can't take that hit at batting average given the way my team is constructed up to this point. I got to go Zimmerman. I'm not happy about it, but I got to go Zimmerman.
Zimmerman was a guy that I was going to take with my next pick.
Were you really?
I'll curse you under my breath. So now we've got my picks: Starling Marte, Jason Hayward, Gio Gonzalez, Homer Bailey, Will Myers, top the board.
You got to take Will Myers. There's no question in my mind unless you're going to go pitcher here, and you already have two of them. There's no question in my mind. I mean, this is a sweet run of pitchers right here. I'm personally intending on grabbing one coming back.
Something I'm really nervous about right here is Trevor Rosenthal is the last good closer that I've got left on my board, and he is fast approaching. I'm afraid that any of these three guys in between me and my next pick might take him. But
someone will.
I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to go with Will Myers.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I'm not mad at it.
As a Red Sox fan, I hate taking fellow AL East members and having to root against my team, but there goes Trevor Rosenthal with the pick right after me.
I wonder if Thomas is watching.
Thomas is definitely watching our live stream, and he's really giving it to me because of it.
He's fucked you twice now, right?
He's fucked me twice. And we got a guy approaching who's the next pitcher on our board, Gio Gonzalez, who's a guy that, maybe gets overlooked a little bit. We're talking about legitimate 200-plus strikeout guy, 200-plus innings, pitching on a great team, so there's definitely potential for wins there. And he gets a little overlooked because he's pitching on the same staff as Steven Strasburg and Ryan Zimmerman. Jordan Zimmerman.
Agreed. I mean, my thing is Gio looks so good. Absolute NL Cy Young Award candidate 2 years ago. And what you saw was teams were seeing him for the first time. Now, he was coming over from the AL into the NL. Those guys always exceed their first year. What you ended up having was you had a good guy who was showing new stuff to a lot of these teams. The thing I love about Gio now is that NL East has a chance to be the worst division in baseball. And it's not close. I mean, you look at that Atlanta Braves staff, you've got like two realistic, reasonable pitchers on there in Urban Santana and Julio Teheran. After that, Mike Minor's hurt. Chris Medlin's hurt. And that entire staff is a joke. They're going to be depending on Craig Kimbrell way too much in my mind. I just see it being tough. The Phillies are an absolute tire fire. The Mets are a joke as always. I just see that Nationals team walking away with the NL East and Gio getting to face, a ton of bad lineups. You got to figure with a team like the Mets, they're going to have, the Mets are always going to have like those midseason call-ups who aren't quite ready, the Ike Davises of the world. It's going to boost up Gio's strikeout rate. I think the NL East was a little bit better last year, and Gio, as a result, these guys have seen him. He took kind of a dip down there. I just see the NL East being a lot worse this year and Gio being a lot better as a result of it.
Okay, we had Joe Nathan go off the board, Gio Gonzalez and Elvis Andrus.
Joe Nathan
going off the board. Closers are flying off the board fast, and I might have to revamp my draft strategy and reach for a guy that I really don't want on my team, and David Robertson.
See, I'd rather have Robinson than I'm just trying to think here. Who else is in that, same kind of tier? Rafael Soriano,
Sergio Romo, Jay Segrilli, Glenn Perkins.
Would you be happy with any of those three?
I'd be all right with Glenn Perkins.
I wouldn't be. I don't like any of those three. I absolutely love what the Twins have done with their lineup this year. With their pitching staff. I think they've started to tailor guys more to their ballpark. And it should be fun to watch them. I just don't know. How much faith I have in the. I just don't know how much faith I have. In that Twins lineup, and a guy who's only done it for the 1 year. All right, your cousin Thomas taking a long time after snickering about fucking you, Trevor Rosenthal again.
takes Josh Donaldson, a guy that could be a big sleeper pick this year.
Yeah, but I mean, you grab a sleeper in the 9th round, the 10th round, not the 7th. Look at the talent level still on the board, and he goes and grabs. I mean, how do you grab Josh Donaldson over Pedro Alvarez?
Oh.
70 runs, 100 RBIs, and 36 home runs last year. Granted, that average was in the toilet, but it was a lot better the year before. Who knows? I mean, if you can get like a 250 batting average out of Pedro Alvarez, you've got an absolute monster on your hands. If I didn't have third base locked up, that's where I was going.
I feel like I might be making a mistake here with Ian Kinsler.
I mean, you got to get a second baseman, right?
Eventually, you do have to get a second baseman. There's a lot of good starting pitching on the board. I do have 2 starting pitchers. It would be nice to get an elite third. Matt Cain has looked excellent this spring.
Absolutely fantastic. That could be the steal of the draft.
Anibal Sanchez, a little overrated.
A little bit in my mind. Or Aldis Chapman. When's he going to start now? June?
June.
That's a shame. Matt Latos, criminally underrated as always because he plays in Cincinnati, and the only people they seem to know are Joey Votto and guys who like to steal things.
I got 10 seconds, and I got to think this thing through quick. Ian Kinsler.
4, 3, 2. You're going to get auto-drafted into Chapman if you don't pick someone now. Oh, just got
Oh, no, I didn't. I got Jason Hayward. That's unfortunate. Oh, we shouldn't be live streaming. You thinking about talking too much? Then
Dude, why don't you just grab a player? That's not very good.
that's really unfortunate for me. I now have
goddamn
4 outfielders
shame.
on my team.
That sucks, and I am taking the no-brainer pick in my mind in Carlos Santana. Now, this is a guy who, dude, you got to have your pick ready to go. This is just, that's amateur hour, man. Don't blame it on a live stream. That's on you. All right, bringing up Carlos Santana's stats here. We're talking about a guy who last year, he hit 268, but in a good Indians lineup, playing catcher primarily, he had 75 runs, 74 RBIs, had 3 steals. If I can get 270 out of a guy who can get me 20 to 25 home runs, he's going to be the everyday third baseman there now. Chances are that's not going to last. He's going to be a DH and he's going to be a DH and first base eligible. But I love position eligibility in baseball. It's extremely underrated. This guy's going to get at least 5 starts at third base. He should be, a third baseman there. And if anything does happen to Zimmerman, as it's wont to do, I'll have a backup third baseman. I love fucking with you. If Matt Cain can make it back to me, which I don't think there's a prayer in hell he will, that is a no-brainer right there. More likely, you got this second tier here of Alex Cobb, Mike Minor we talked about as being hurt, Carlos Beltran still on the board, Julio Teheran, Matt Moore, Shelby Miller, who people are extremely discounting because the dude disappeared in the playoffs. Newsflash here, guys. We're talking about a guy who was absolutely fantastic when he came up. A rookie, petered out towards the end of the season. Had an even better year his second year and just didn't have the gas for the playoffs. This is a guy who is slowly but surely building up that endurance, what it takes to be, for the Cardinals, they're not just a 162-game team. They're a 190, 200-game team. I think Shelby Miller, after, what is this now, 2 years of being on that Cardinals team that has gone very deep in the playoffs, is building up that endurance. I love Shelby Miller going forward. An absolutely filthy 3.06 ERA. The 121 whip scares me a little bit, but the 15 wins and the 170 strikeouts, you got to figure those are only going up.
And we just saw David Robertson go off the board.
Ooh,
Closers are going fast,
trouble.
And I should have taken one 3 picks ago.
Trevor Rosenthal was on the board for you, and you went with who?
I couldn't even tell you.
There you
Will
go.
Myers.
That's your first mistake. I love Myers, but there's a decent chance he would have been there coming back around.
So a draft that has started off really hot for me has since petered out. Well, let's see if I can't save it with some later picks. Which, historically, is where I make my money in these leagues.
Wait, what's that?
Late draft picks, early free agent acquisitions are where leagues are won, as
They
we
are
know.
your bread and butter, yeah.
Okay, we got Yadier Molina still on the board, and someone's bound to reach for him soon. Unfortunately, in fantasy baseball, you don't get points for defense.
Yeah, but, I mean, here's the thing with a guy like Yadier Molina. It's the same thing I'm looking at
Who
with a
just
guy
went
like...
off the board with my cousin Johnny.
Beautiful. I love that pick. See, here's the thing. He's a guy similar to Andrelton Simmons, where he's so good defensively, he's going to play every day. He's going to do work all day, every day. That's what he does, right? So I look at a guy like that, and it strikes me that, there's a decent chance, he's going to get the reps he needs to get better. You don't get better, by playing once every 3-4 days or coming in as a defensive replacement and only hitting in the ninth inning. You get better, as Ike Davis has shown you, not by hitting minor league pitching, but by getting better in the majors. If you're going to do it, and this is where Yadier Molina was at. He was a 230 hitter, then he was a 250 hitter. Before you knew, he was a 280 hitter, getting a couple of steals as a catcher. Now he's just, 300 hitter? Bring him up real quick, can you?
I don't think I can.
Yeah, you can. Come on, dude.
No,
Being lazy
you
at this
can't.
point.
You can't click us once they've been dropped.
Just being lazy at this point. I got it right here, Chief. He was a 319 hitter last year, 80 RBIs, 70 runs, only 12 home runs, so 3 stolen bases. 12 the year before. That's 15 stolen bases in 2 years from a catcher. That's nothing to sneeze at. That 1 or 2 extra stolen bases can win you a week. 315 the year before that. I think he cemented himself as a damn near, hot, like that same Joe Mauer type. What were we talking about? Joe Mauer as a second and third round pick for all those years. Quietly, Yadier Molina is right there with 80 RBIs last year. From the catcher spot, almost 70 runs. I don't think it's a reach at all. I think you just got an absolute steal there, John.
Masahiro Tanaka.
Oh, wow.
Coming off the board in the mid-8.
And it wasn't even to a Yankees homer. I love Steve. Michael Wacha and Tanaka back-to-back. Talk about buying the hype.
Okay, we got Matt Cain still on the board, and like we said, he's looked phenomenal this spring.
Don't worry, he won't get back to you.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
If you look at Steve's team now, I just want to point this out. This is the Believe the Hype All-Stars. Troy Tulowitzki, Bryce Harper, Sin-So Choo after one great year in Cincinnati, Billy Hamilton, Ian Desmond, his first full year at shortstop, killing it in Washington, Garrett Cole, Michael Wacha, and Masahiro Tanaka. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is what your team looks like, send me $100. I can use it a lot more than the guys in your league can. It's getting a little ridiculous here. You can buy the hype on 1 or 2 of these guys. If you grab maybe a couple of them late, like a Michael Wacha, maybe in like the 8th or 9th round, and you have a Billy Hamilton in there, or you had to reach and get in the 5th round, you can build a potent team. When you're getting this many guys, right, who so much can go wrong for, and everyone is talking about them coming into the draft, you are in trouble.
And we just had another closer go off the board, Sergio Romo. Are people reaching on this, or is the draft dictating that we take a closer soon?
I think where we're at now, the old adage has always been, I don't pay for saves, right? I never want to pay for saves. When I get a guy like Craig Kimbrell, I'm getting a guy who's giving me solid ERA, strikeouts, whip, the whole 9. I'm getting a full package. Basically, I'm getting a 5th starter who's going to get me saves as well, right? When you get a guy like, who are we talking about coming off the board here? Sergio Romo? Are you getting that from him? Are you getting that from David Robertson? Possibly, but I don't see that with Joe Nathan. You're getting a higher ERA, you're getting a higher whip, same thing with the Papelbon. I don't know that the draft is telling us we need to. I think it comes back to being smart. being patient, let these guys peter out on closers, build your team up around them. Unless you're getting one of the top 2 or 3 guys who, like I said, are going to they're going to supplement your ERA, your WHIP, and your strikeouts, you don't need to overbuy in a closer. So Connor's up. I still have a shot at Matt King here if he doesn't grab him. And Connor, just to look at his team real quick, already has Jose Fernandez and Homer Bailey. Now, who did he grab?
He grabs Jason Worth, a great pick, a guy that I feel is underrated this year.
100% underrated. Guy, last year, the only guy who had a higher batting average than Jason Worth in the second half of the season was Miguel Cabrera. He was fantastic the second half of last season. Now, let's see if he's just one of those guys who, like a Matt Latos, consistently gets better as the season goes on, or, if he just does the same thing over and over again, he can really pick it up starting from day one. I have a no-brainer choice here in Matt Cain, getting so much value on him. We're talking about a guy who was last year's Clayton Kershaw, a first or second round pick. Guys loved him. Getting him in the 8th round, 92nd overall, no doubt about it.
Okay, guy I'm going with here that's been overlooked in a lot of drafts so far this year is James Shields. Model of consistency the past couple of years.
There you go. I was going to grab him coming back if you didn't. Great pick, sir. Well, just go get it there, my bill.
Oh, and look at this! I'm getting some credit from Steve Below bandwagon of nice pick on James Shields.
Ooh, Shields or Kane?
Shields, he said.
No, it's not all Sox fans. Who do we got in here?
Got you, me, Cal.
Right.
I guess there's 3 Sox fans.
So it's 3 Sox fans, 8 Yankees fans, and 1 Phillies fan.
No, Dong is a Mets fan. Shields was a guy that was going overlooked in a lot of drafts because he was injured to start the spring, but then he came on real hot there at the end. 2 guys that really just outpitched themselves this spring, Matt Cain and James Shields, and both of them are falling into 8th and 9th round picks in a lot of drafts.
All right, take Mike Minor. Dude, my thing is with Yahoo, it's the one thing that really frustrates me about their draft engine. How do you not have that these guys are injured on here? Like, why does it not say Aroldis Chapman shouldn't be drafted?
Well, I mean, I think they do that in itself by dropping his rank all the way down into the hundreds when we know
he's still at 55.
No, not on mine.
Really? All right, I want to see how Luch's team is turning out so far. We're looking at Robinson Cano, Matt Carpenter, Jose Reyes. This is terrible. Giancarlo Stanton.
And Aroldis Chapman going.
Who took Chapman?
Aroldis Chapman was taken by our very own Matt Petrillo.
Oh, my God. I love Petrillo. Oh, wow. That is so bad.
Okay, but with Aroldis Chapman and Jason Grilli going early, I know we said we don't pay for saves, but I feel like I have to go with one here. And I'm going to go with Glenn Perkins, relief pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. A reach for sure.
I would say so. I would definitely say so.
But the only player above him that I'm really a fan of is Brandon Phillips, second base.
See, I don't even love Phillips at second base, so if that's where your head's at, then go for it. Now I have the decision between. Oh wait, I want to see something real quick. Is he still on here? Who took Julio Teheran and when?
Julio Teheran was taken.
He was taken by Thomas at the end of the round, right after Matt Cain. Wow, it was
right after James Shields.
To me, it was between Shields, Cain, and Teheran. I love Julio Teheran this year. I think he's a legitimate NL Cy Young candidate, the same way Yu Darvish was coming into last season. Fantastic pick. All right, I was looking for him. Not going to happen. To me, looking at my team, I still have one outfield slot open. Still got to fill up second base and shortstop. But I love Rue. I love Hujian. Can't pronounce his goddamn name. Rue. So I'm going for it. Yeah.
Rue pitched phenomenally last weekend in Australia.
He's pitching tonight, and he's not doing too shabby either. Let's look at my boy here. Yeah, I mean, he's got him, he's got him actually beneath the Latos, Bailey, Kane, Shields, Hamels, Lee, Price. Where was Teheran actually now? Okay. Cashner, Weaver, Pfister, Cobb, Zimmerman, Medlin, Minor, both hurt. So I'm just trying to see who's still on the board other than Hamels, who we know is hurt. We got Shelby Miller. Where is he at? He's not in this group. All right, so I don't feel like I made a bad pick there. Actually, Shelby Miller, if I'm not mistaken, is the top of the fourth tier here. Corey Kluber. Now, what do you think about him? That's interesting. Gave up 32% of his 63 earned runs in 3 rough starts. Now, think about that. 32% of 63 runs. I'm no mathematician, but I believe that's somewhere around 19, 20 runs in 3 starts. Other than that, it's 40 runs given up the rest of the year. That ain't bad.
That's not bad at all, but it's really going to come down to a question of whether you think he's going to tighten up or loosen up. He might give up that many runs in more starts, or he might be able to tighten up those few rough starts he had.
My thing is, with youth being on his side, I always err on the side of, he'll work out the kinks. I look at a guy like Phil Hughes when he was with the Yankees, and he had that 1 year where he put it together at the All-Star game. All he did was limit the damage at Yankee Stadium. And he became an All-Star. Oh, Christ almighty. This is terrible. Oh, wow. He's trying to argue this one. Petrillo's really trying to argue the merit of the Chapman pick. Cal, meanwhile, Prince Fielder, Ben Zobrist, a little early for me, Adrian Beltre, David Ortiz, sticking with his Homer roots, Cliff Lee, David Price, Greg Holland, and Matt Latos.
We've got a guy approaching our draft board that I like a lot, and Shane Victorino. It's not just because I'm a Boston fan. He's a guy that gets widely overlooked because he's just well above average in every category, not great in any particular one.
Yeah, I mean, let's
Not 20-plus stolen bases, 15 home runs, 82 runs, a 300 batting average. This isn't a guy that,
All right, let's keep it real, though. We're talking about a guy who, this isn't Roto. This is head-to-head. He's above average in a lot of categories, and what you tell me about that? It's not going to win you leagues. It'll keep you in the hunt, but I don't know. Here's my thing. Cal's coming up right now. He's probably going to grab him because he's the biggest homer right now. Steve makes a good point. I got to get an outfielder here.
For those of you that can't read our chat, my point was that Austin Jackson, who might have been a little bit of a reach here, was a great pick because the outfield is about to get real thin.
See, here's my question I have for you. What's the difference between the guy you got from Minnesota and did he just go off the board? Where is he? Addison Reed.
No, it's about 1.5 points in the ERA column. But
is it really? I mean, but given what's the innings pitch? Addison Reed is still getting you 72 strikeouts.
Don't get me wrong, Addison Reed is a guy that I love in this draft, but
he's got what is that? It's a 9.0 K per nine. That's insane.
Oh, and Brian McCann goes off the board, who I was planning to take with my next pick. Way to go, Cal.
Oh, boo. I'm just upset that Cal took a Yankee.
Okay, we got Alex Gordon still on the board, and I can't quite figure out why people are overlooking this man. He had 90 runs scored and over 80 RBIs last year. To boot, he hit over 20 home runs.
He had 90 the year before, too, but only the 14 home runs. To me, what it comes down to is where's he going to land? Is it going to be that 265 of last year, or is it going to be the 295 of the year before? I mean, can we really shoot the middle and just say 280 with 90 and 75? If so, he should be off the board by now, especially if Austin Jackson just got taken.
Okay, Mike takes Alex Gonzalez. He finally goes off the board. I'm sitting here with Pablo Sandoval at the top of our board, Brett Lowry, Billy Butler, Aaron Hill, Mike Minor. Just to update you guys, or remind you guys that I already have 3 starting pitchers with Yu Darvish, Chris Sale, James Shields, a relief pitcher, and an abundance of outfielders. Here I like Aaron Hill. I like him a lot. Didn't play that much last season, so he's fallen down some draft boards. But I'm going to take the gamble that he might get back to me again next round. And I am going to go with... I don't know who I'm going to go with. I'm driving myself crazy. I'm going to go with Hisashi Iwakuma. Oh, he might be hurt. Maybe I won't be going with him. Oh, yep, Iwakuma's on the DL, so I'm not even going to gamble. I'm going to go with Aaron Hill here. I like it. I don't love it either. Thomas going with Coco Crisp. Nice value pack for steals late in the draft. Dong taking Mike Minor. Mike Minor coming off the surgery he had last year. We'll see how he recovers from that. Got a ton of talent. Dominic Brown coming off the board next.
I don't know what's worse right now, my bathroom or Luch's team. Dude, they're both terrible. All right, so who are you looking at now with the? We got 3 picks ahead of you, including Petrillo, who's just stopped making any sense whatsoever. Just said YOLO all over this draft.
Trill taking Jim Johnson, a guy that I really liked coming around. I was thinking about taking him. I am sitting here and I'm trying to contemplate between Addison Reed or Pablo Sandoval. Between Pablo Sandoval or Addison Reed.
Who's your third baseman?
I don't have a third baseman as of yet.
Come on. Is that really, like, you just took Aaron Hill. You know what I mean? Like, you need a third baseman.
I also need a catcher and another relief pitcher.
All right. I mean, at this point, it's getting into. I mean, for me, I still don't have a second baseman. Like, I've got one guy I've got my eye on. But like realistically, I'm just looking here at third baseman still available. You can go with Brett Lawrie, Martin Prado, Ramos Ramirez, Jed Gurko. I still need a shortstop. I keep finding myself in the same place after all these months.
Okay,
Martin
Thomas
Prado
goes with
off the
Martin
board.
Prado. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to go with Addison Reed here. I feel like the rest of my pitching staff is going to be strong enough to counteract, this semi-high ERA.
And it's only 70 innings pitched. You know what I mean? It's not like you're getting 140, 150 innings out of him at that kind of ERA. So I won't worry about it.
Oh, a guy approaching on our draft board that I can't believe has fallen this far down draft boards is Alfonso Soriano. Over 80 runs scored, over 100 RBIs, 34 home runs, and 18 stolen bases last season. And we saw that production spike as he moved to the New York Yankees, where he started his career. And something that I don't...
Here's my big issue now. We're talking about a team who's, I think, 5 of their 6 best hitters all play outfield. Can you guarantee me Soriano's going to get the playing time, especially with the rash of injuries he had before he got to New York? I just don't know about him. All right, I'm in the hot seat right now. With Addison Reed just going, no. Dude, he just had an MRI. I don't. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a guy who chases saves, but if I'm going to shore up the best relieving core in baseball right now, I got to go with Casey Janssen, 34 saves. What I really like about him is the extremely low ERA, the high strikeout rate, and the sub-1 whip. The guy who's going to get his chances up there in Toronto, more so now that team isn't, everyone's media darling.
Mike, your team is looking quite good.
I have no problems with my team so far. I'm still, like I said, to me, it always comes down to, in every one of the mocks I do, I have a gap at second base and shortstop. And I'm going to clue you in on something, folks. You're always going to have gaps. That's just what it comes down to.
Especially in a 12-team league.
You're in a 12-team league, 14-team league, 16, whatever, Unless you're doing an 8-team league where you go in knowing everybody's going to have an all-star team, and it comes down to who's better, the guys I have faith in or the guys you have faith in. It's tough.
And as we move on to the later rounds of our drafts, I'm sitting here with only 3 starting pitchers, and I'm thinking I might want to shore up the best pitching staff in baseball.
I mean, so far I have Wainwright, Kane, and Ryu. I have no problem.
Mike Napoli, guy approaching on our boards too. Not just because I'm a Red Sox fan, but because he hit over 20 home runs and closed in on 100 RBIs. You can't find that production usually this late in the draft, but Mike Napoli, a guy that's being largely overlooked because of his degenerative hip condition.
Right. I mean, he's the reason, it all goes back to the conversation we were having towards the end of the, when Napoli started on that awesome tear beginning of the season last year, he didn't get his massive extension for a reason. Something about that guy scares me. Jesus! Do you see Petrillo's staff right now? He's got Posey and Mauer. He's got David Wright, Elvis Andrus, who's going to start the season on the DL. He's got Dominic Brown, who's got, pillow power. And Aroldis Chapman, who's not going to play until June. This makes us look bad to call this an experts draft.
Petrillo playing for the postseason, clearly. And we got Matt Pinto drafting John Lester. A bit of a reach, you think?
I don't think so, no. I mean, look at the talent that's left on the board at starting pitcher here. Chris Medlin, hurt. Doug Fister, hurt. So, for me, it comes down to Johnny Cueto or that Samardzija Weaver tier. And to me, Lester very well could be the top of that tier.
I mean, a guy we're overlooking here is Francisco Liriano.
Very much so. I mean, and I think rightfully so. I refuse to be sucked into the Francisco Liriano carousel of hatred.
The way I'm looking at it right now is if Francisco Liriano does fall to me my next pick, we're looking at a guy that's either going to be a huge steal or a huge bust, but with my 4th starting pitching slot, I don't mind taking that risk.
To me, I still see value in a bunch of other guys around here to start, why not take Brett Gardner? right? Even as a pinch hitter, he's going to get you. As a pinch runner, the guy is so fast and he's so good on the base pass. I could still see him getting you 25 to 30 stolen bases with like 60 runs scored. You know? Not saying I do it personally, but I would take him. You know, I'd take him over Liriano. I'll tell you that much. What am I going to do at second base and shortstop is the question. How is Pablo Sandoval still there?
I will be taking Pablo Sandoval if he falls to me.
I'm looking. Let's see here. Cal, you're up. Cal, you're up.
And Cal's going to get auto-drafted into Pablo Sandoval. Yeah, drafting in a 12-team league sure can be tedious.
Yep.
All right, Johnny's been a bit of a wild card here in the 12 hole. Let's see what he does with this next back-to-back picks.
Alfonso Soriano off the board. He must have heard you.
A guy I really like this year, guys, Alfonso Soriano. Chase Utley off the board. Someone chasing second base. Joakim Soria. We got some more closers going.
That was the one guy I actually had slotted in at second base going into this round. I was going to scoop him up. Might have let him hold on a little too long there. End of the day, this is a guy who's got. Did you post we started the live stream?
No, I did not.
Why is it posted on Twitter then? That's pretty awesome. All right, got nothing coming in on Twitter. See if we got anything on Facebook yet. Facebook.
Jeff Samardzija coming off the board, a pick I like a lot. You know, he might kill you in ERA and WHIP, but it's certainly nice to have a guy that can pitch for 220 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, he could. You know, I mean, it really just depends. Has the league started to figure him out yet? I just don't know. It's interesting. All right, let me take a look here. Roto Junkies. Let's check the Facebook page, see if anything came in.
Now, one approach I'm taking here, I'm thinking. Hold up, let me just check Mike's team before I spill my cards.
Oh, you gotta say it now, please.
Okay, one approach I'm thinking here is Petrillo kind of backed himself in the corner there, taking two catchers this early in the draft, and I'm going to try and wait as long as possible to take a catcher and hope he gets desperate enough to trade me one at a discount.
Wow.
Now, an important draft strategy is to take into account who you're drafting with and what their teams currently look like. So, definitely something I'm going to try and take advantage of.
See, here's my question. Do you think Dan Uggla is the starting second baseman of the Atlanta Braves come, May 15th?
Possibly not.
I don't think so. You know, I mean, he was left off the playoff roster last year. I'm a little worried about him. Did have the 22 home runs, and at this point, the way my team's constructed, I can eat some average killers right now. What is she saying?
You will need both.
You know, like at what point do we start looking at the Adam Dunn of the world? Oh wow, JP's telling me his computer froze up here. Let's see where he's at. Teabaggers.
Took Doug Fister, an injured pitcher.
I mean, he's not that hurt, but he's still hurt.
Mike, you want to help me pull up your expert thing again? Your pitcher thing?
Where was it here? Oh, no, right there, and I'm up. So way to just pull me off of this.
Go back to it, Mike, and I'll find it.
Oh, here we go. Boom. There's everyone. You want to look up any pitcher, go by team.
No, I just want to. It's all right.
Seriously, do that. Well, look at the guy. Look at the guy. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Last year, second base OPS. Alright, you know what? I'm not even going to do that right now. Who we got left at shortstop? Yeah, we still got enough guys at shortstop. I don't love Howie Kendrick is the problem.
Howie Kendrick is a guy at second base. I'm sure I'm going to have in at least one league this year.
Jordan Napoli. I'm going Cruz. Solid power right there, and I got one more guy who I like.
Xander Bogaerts going this early in a draft?
Who grabbed him up?
Connor grabbing Xander Bogaerts, a guy that I was planning on taking at shortstop, and now I have to rethink my draft strategy.
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking at someone else, but I hear you. That does kind of mess it up for me.
Huh.
Who's not the X-Men?
Okay, a guy I'm going to take here to shore up a hole that I still have at third base is Brett Lowry. You know, hopefully he could stay healthy. I'm not sure if he can, but... Oh, wait, Ramos Ramirez, too much of a reach. Ned Adams, Starlin Castro. I'm going to go with Castro, actually, to make sure I have my shortstop.
Starlin Castro. Wow. See, I like it. I do. You know, I just don't know if I love it. Desmond Jennings still on the board. Now, remember when he was coming up, people were talking about, like, could he be the next Ken Griffey? Jason Hayward used to get the same hype. You know, I don't know. I love how Connor took Bogarts for the stolen bases. He's the best.
Yeah, Connor taking Bogarts because he thinks that he's a stolen base guy, but as we all know, Bogarts is a little too... He's bigger than your stereotypical shortstop and not much of a stolen base guy.
Right, decent amount of power, good speed as far as moving laterally. You know, I'd say more quickness than speed. I don't see it there. I really don't.
Oh, and Dong taking Francisco Liriano.
Still think it's a reach, boys. You know, see, you already got your shortstop, right?
Yes.
Okay, see, now I got to go back to, once again, Andrelton Simmons. You know, I don't know how I feel about him. You know, he didn't do very well last year, but, you know, who knows, man?
The guy I think might be available there in a couple more rounds.
Simmons?
Simmons.
I mean, he's kind of creeping up there on the board. Ooh, I know where I'm going with, actually. Wow, who took Leonis Martin?
He went a while ago.
Did he really?
Yep.
How do I keep missing these? He went before Utley? Oh, he went at the round I took Jansen. Damn. That's a reach right there. Oh, that's right. JP's Computer Pros. That's why. Sucked. Screwed me on Martin. I have loved Martin all year. I really wanted him. You know? I hope he doesn't know what he has in Martin. I'll make a play for him. I don't know what's the Chiefs he did. You know what channel Xbox, watch ESPN. I want to catch this Dodgers Padres game. Maybe get a little too sucked into it, so I can go out too. Alright, I got who? Oh my god. Andrew Cashner looks terrible. Yes, I hate that I knew that was Andrew Cashner just by his terrible view. I think I know who you're going with, so I gotta. Well, maybe not. Alright, Kyle Crawford. Yeah? Yeah, no? Yeah.
Got a guy I really want to reach on right now.
Who's that?
I'm not going to say anything.
Alright.
I'm sorry, Mike. That's the.
You think about it, that's fine. I already know who I'm going with. Actually, I have two guys who have taken the spot. Where was they just on? Yep. Ooh, didn't realize he was still on the board.
I'm going to reach and I'm going to grab this guy.
Did you grab Lance Lynn? Ooh. Definitely not who I thought you were talking about.
I reached and I grabbed Lance Lynn with this pick, a guy that I really, really like this year. Yeah, we'll see how that reach pays off.
Let's see, what starting pitchers do we have still on the board? Can't forget about them. Still like 3 or 4 guys who I really, really like. So, looking at my team one more time, making sure I'm at where I think I'm at. Yep. Gotta do it. Where's my boy?
Clay Buchholz, huh?
Hell no, come on. Everybody's afraid of him. Victor Martinez.
Victor Martinez.
Love him as a utility this year. Love him as my second utility. Look at my lineup real quick.
And not to mention he's got first base eligibility.
He does have first base eligibility, but I mean, come on, I'm not starting him over Freddie Freeman. What it comes down to is I just love to. I want to pull up that starting pitchers guide so we can get a look at a couple guys who I have an eye on. Can you give me a hand here, bro?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I thought you had it.
No, it's just I couldn't. I didn't want like all the papers to fall out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I tilt the camera this way, so that might be the space in there. Is that there?
Okay, so we had Lance Lynn, Victor Martinez, Salvador Perez, R.A. Dickey, Ernesto Fieri, and Desmond Jennings. Kyle Seager, nice third baseman taken.
Yeah, I like Kyle Seager this year, especially given the fact that they have guys to drive him in. He's been a good on-base guy for most of his career. Ooh. Did you just see that? Yasiel Puig just took one off the hands. He looks kind of hurt. His back went way into it.
He's still in the batting box.
Yeah, but I don't like his stance right there. He just does not look comfortable. That's who you're looking at?
No.
That's who I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Really should be looking at this.
What? No. Dude, I'm not buying the hype. What it comes down to is both the OBP and the OPS on that other guy. Fantastic. Like, so underrated. To me, there's no difference between him and Matt Carpenter, other than the batting average with runners in scoring position, because they just don't get the runners in scoring position that Matt Carpenter does. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's on my short list. I'm taking him this next round if he comes back to me.
Johnny Cueto, good pick.
Well, what the fuck, Luke? Shut up.
Sonny Gray going, not a bad pick. CJ
I love
Wilson.
Sonny Gray. See, all right, let's start bringing up some guys on here. Go back to the starting pitcher guide. No, not that one, the other one.
I'm not very savvy with a Mac. There we go. What do you want to look at?
I wanted to see, let's look up Andrew Kashner. Actually, look at that other dude, Kluber.
I don't know what team.
The Indians.
Corey Kluber. As of this writing, the Indians have lost.
Just look at his grades. His mechanics are A-. That's all on the scale of, I think, 80 is the top number. This movie looks dope, by the way. Like the $1 Million Arnold ever.
Brandon Moss, a good pick.
I do actually really like Moss. Do you think Puig can hit 300 this year?
I do think we could hit 300 this year. Well, Billy Butler was the guy I was going to take.
I
Looks like Connor
was looking
took
at
him.
either Billy Butler or Victor Martinez. Those are the two. And I went with Martinez for the higher upside with average. So now I'm filling up the hole I need to fill up at second base, grabbing up Daniel Murphy. Not too sad about that one. You looking at there? Henderson.
Okay, here I'm looking to either fill up, maybe that third base spot, maybe a utility spot, maybe another relief pitcher since I'm kind of weak on the two that I already have. But with a guy like Mike Napoli still available, I'm not quite sure if I could pass up on him at this point. It'd be a great utility guy, great guy to fill in at first base on occasion. I just don't know. I've got so much anxiety right now.
I don't see how you can go wrong with Napoli, honestly, at this point. As your utility guy, you just saw what I did with Victor Martinez. I think Napoli is, I think Napoli is the higher risk, higher reward Victor Martinez pick. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
I've got a bunch of high average guys on my team already, so I could deal with Napoli's low
tell me if you
average.
agree or not. Puig is due to regress. So between Alvarez, Stanton, and who's the other guy they had? Alvarez, Stanton, and
Oh, and the guy I was just about to take, Jonathan
Lucroy. See, now that
Um,
would have been a great pick if you could have landed him still at
I was about to take him, and now I'm going to rethink that and go back to my trying to rip Petrillo off for a catcher strategy.
Don't give him anyone good though. Like you really just can't reward that kind of behavior.
You know me, Mike. Have I ever given anyone anything good in a trade I've been a part of?
You almost gave up Sean Moreno for Tom Brady.
I almost gave up Sean Moreno for Tom Brady. Almost.
That's a fact. That's what you should do. You should just dangle someone you know is going to be great in front of him.
I'm going to go with a third relief pitcher here to make up for the, slightly lacking ones that I already have.
Ooh. All right. You got a shortstop?
Yep.
And a third baseman? Oh, no, he's not third base eligible. All right. I'm wondering, is it too early? Ooh, I didn't know that he was still a bit.
You got 2 picks before me. We are boring the hell out of these poor folks at home watching us.
See, I'm wondering now. Dude, you just really want to do anything and see this. I'm up right now, right?
Yep.
All right, so, see, I'm wondering, is it too early to take Chris Davis? You know the Chris Davis I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He had insane power last year. Really, really like him. I think I gotta go. I'm just looking here. Like Kluber's still up there. Do me a favor, pull up real quick. Pull up Justin Masterson.
Justin Masterson.
Indians. No, here, on here. He's also on the Indians. Just keep scrolling down.
Justin Masterson. Grades.
Just get to his grades.
B-, not bad.
That's his mechanics, but you know what? I'm just gonna go for it.
I like Justin Masterson. If that's who you're taking.
No, I'm taking Kluber.
No.
Went for it.
Houston Street, good pickup.
Yeah, you like Houston Street?
I do like Houston Street.
He's just not going to stay healthy. We know that by now. See, now
Andrelton Simmons, a guy still left that I like a lot. You know, one of those really hyped prospects. You know, coming into the league, playing his first full season.
Like I said, a guy like Andrelton Simmons plays so good on defense, right? And that you got to think of that Braves lineup, right? You got B.J. Upton, Justin Upton, Dan Uggla's in there. There's a lot of guys who are boom or bust. Now, given that fact, they're going to have to play real tight defense, right? I'm just trying to figure out here, who would you rather have now? Andrelton Simmons, right? Or, you know, like I guess my thing is, where I'm coming from, Andrelton Simmons feels like, to me, the shortstop version of Victor Martinez. His defense is so good that he's going to get those reps at the major league level each and every day. You know, I think he's going to learn how to hit at that major league level. You got to love him.
And in a position like shortstop, you know, can you really go wrong? It's not like you're getting production from too many of those guys anyway.
No. Why do you think I've taken this long to pick up a second baseman and a shortstop?
That's Starlin Castro.
Right. You know.
Although we all do remember Starlin Castro's first big in the league, you know, first major league game with the Cubs, 6 RBIs.
Incredible. No, I mean, Starlin Castro's always had that potential, and I think what you're looking at here, basically, you know, you love our boy out there. I love our boy out there. Michael Pineda just taken. Really?
I like that.
Really? You know, to me, he's a fifth starter, and we don't know if he can ever reach, you know, that level he was at when he had that amazing season in Seattle. Seattle, if you look at it, look at their trades when they've let guys go. Chances are you're not getting value when you trade with them. Cliff Lee from a few years ago going to the Rangers, eventually signed with the Phillies. You know, they got Justin Smoke in there.
Did Archer just go?
No. Chris Archer's still up there. I know you want him. Look him up on here. Come on. That's what we have it for. I paid like $8 for this thing.
I don't even know what I'm looking at with this.
Dude, just read the report on it. Keep going. Oh, it's Cobb?
Yeah.
See, I like Cobb. I like Cobb better than Archer.
Archer's rookie start.
There we go. Over the final 2 months. Best in baseball, they're behind. See, that ain't bad.
Chris Archer finished up really strong last year.
Real strong. Hold up. DL. One thing Chris Archer in the danger zone is a heavy slider usage. See, that's what gets me with a lot of these guys, especially a Madison Bumgarner type. That use of the slider. Right now, you look at Josh Johnson. How great was he, and how many times did he get hurt with the slider? David Price, slider. Matt Harvey, slider. Garrett Richards, slider. Michael Pineda.
I'd also like to point out that Madison Bumgarner has pitched over 200 innings in 3 straight seasons, and maybe the most famous slider pitcher of all time, Randy Johnson, rarely missed a start.
Yeah, but I mean, we also knew Randy Johnson knew how to throw a slider. That's the big thing when you look at this. That's why I love this starting pitcher report, because it shows you just got drafted. That starting pitcher report looks a lot at balance. Balance is a huge thing. If you're going to throw that slider, you better have the balance to do so. Now, is Simmons still up there?
Yeah.
He is, right? Yeah.
Second guy on the board.
See, to me, this is Drupal Cabrera, Andrelton Simmons, or Alexi Ramirez.
Aramis Ramirez.
No, Alexi, not Aramis. Aramis is going.
Aramis is the third baseman up at the very top of the board.
Yeah, no, I'm saying for me as shortstop, on my list here, Alexi Ramirez is a high average, high stolen base guy. He's hurt.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Jurickson Profar is hurt. Trust me, he'd already be on my team. I just want to take a quick look here at shortstop OPS from last year.
Alex Ramirez, slightly higher in OPS and OBP. You know, they're talking about a White Sox resurgence. I think it starts with that guy. Had to go with him.
Okay. And it's a safe pick with Iglesias being hurt. As a Red Sox fan, I'm going to go with my man Clay Buchholz.
Are you really?
Worst comes to worst, I get a solid 2 months out of him and try and trade him before the injury definitely comes. Not bad for SP5.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Let me take a look here on my team, who I have as my starting pitchers. I'm sitting here with Wainwright, Kane, Ryu, and Kluber. Let's see. I want to take a look at some more of these guys. Who's still available in our starting pitcher section here? Patrick Corbin, of course, is hurt. I want to know what's wrong with Ian Kennedy, so let's take a look. Dude, there's one guy on my list. You know who it is, and I really hope you don't take him.
I think I am. Like with this next pick.
Are you really?
Will Middlebrooks?
No. Dude, actually, you've already seen who I have on my fucking list.
No, I wasn't really paying attention.
No, don't worry about it, then. And don't take him. Alright, I'll just try to find... who am I looking for? Alright, Ryan Howard comes off the board. Ian Kennedy's open.
Fast approach my pick.
Ian Kennedy. I think I'm going to grab him. I've always liked Kennedy, even when he was on the Yankees. All right, let's look at some of these last picks here. Morneau, Urban Santana. Wow, how did he last this long? Bobby Parnell off the board. You're going to go for him?
I think I'm going to grab him over Aramis Ramirez.
Huh?
I'm going to grab him over Aramis Ramirez. Off to a torrid spring, Will Middlebrooks. Gets a little bit forgotten about because of how terrible he started the season last year, but people forget after he got optioned back down to AAA Pawtucket and he came back up, he was a solid baseball player.
Yeah, well, he was also reunited with his girlfriend, Red Sox beat reporter, who's since been fired. You got to figure he was taking quite a ribbing from the boys on the bus for that one. Maybe now that she's no longer with the team, maybe he loosens up a little bit. Who knows?
You don't find this kind of power, potential.
No.
This late in a draft.
17 home runs in what, like 3 months playing with the Red Sox last year? I'd take him if I was you. All right, and speaking of power potential, my boy, Chris Davis. Woohoo! I couldn't let him go one more round. I just couldn't. I absolutely love the kid. The only person who had a lower isolated slugging percentage last year than Chris Davis was Chris Davis. Yeah. He is absolutely phenomenal in his short stint with the Brewers last year. He absolutely killed it. He's going to be an everyday outfielder next year. Should be a lot of fun to see this kid. All right, let me keep looking at this kid over here. I'm really loving what they're saying here about Ian Kennedy. His mechanics are not that bad. He's scoring in, 50 or higher in every category. Great balance, great momentum, solid torque on his pitches. His posture is really strong. His release distance is all right. My problem with him has always been the consistency. Guy could be going out there throwing, 6 strong shutout innings and give up 4 or 5 runs in the 7th. Nobody knows with him. I'm looking at Josh Johnson in Kennedy with, their move to Petco Park before Johnson got hurt. Both of them fantastic. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. They're fantastic as far as, their mechanics, their potential. These are guys who could go very, very, very strong, and it's not happening for one reason or another. And it ultimately, to me, comes down to, our boy here, our boy Kennedy pitching out in Chase Field, out in Arizona, where the ball just carries like nobody's business. You go and you take a guy like that, put him in a place like Petco, and now we're dealing with something here. Let me just make sure he's not hurt, and I think I might be grabbing him on the way back. Is he hurt here? Let's bring this up. I don't think he is.
And just a correction from before, Ian Kennedy's not playing at Chase Field in Arizona. He plays at Petco Park.
Now he does. That's what I'm saying. He was at Chase Field. Even when he was like second in the Cy Young voting a couple years ago, and he was absolutely insane. He's a fly ball pitcher who was playing at Chase Field. Now you take a fly ball pitcher, right? A guy who, it gets murdered, right? If he lets up, one too many of those. Like Phil Hughes pitching in Yankee Stadium, a fly ball pitcher, he goes from, Chase Field, like I said, where the ball carries like crazy, to Petco, where, fly balls go to die. It's not like we're talking about a ground ball pitcher here, who moves to a pitcher's park. He's serving up the long ball like crazy, and now he goes to 4 runs and 8 hits on 2 walks. Okay, struck out only 1 in 4.2 innings. That's all spring ball. Now bring him home to Petco. Got a shot. I'm just saying, he's going to be one of those guys who you're going to have to manage. He's going to be like an every other starter. But this is a guy who you can't deny the talent. He was second or third in the Cy Young voting just 2 years ago. And now, what are you going to do? His batting average against was only 250. It was under 250, 247 last year. So what killed him was the long ball. You bring in the Petco, you take away the long ball. I mean, to me, is that not like No Sean Moreno being able to pass block? That's one of those like common sense things I think people are missing. To me, Ian Kennedy, for a 5th starting pitcher, start him at home, sit him for his bad ballpark road starts. I already got Henry Rue, who's filthy right now.
Yeah.
Filthy.
Pitching a great game. 7 strikeouts. Still pitching a shutout.
Shutout.
Inning.
Dude, he's incredible.
Right into the 7th inning. 6th inning just ended.
Loving this kid. Loving him. I mean, I don't see how I go wrong with a guy like Ian Kennedy as my 5th starter.
Mark Teixeira going, guy that could be a huge sleeper pick this year.
It's about that time. I mean, all right, let's get honest right now. Who would you rather have? Ooh, wait! See, here's another one. Josh Johnson. How good is Josh Johnson?
Oh, sorry about that.
See, my thing is, with Kennedy, it was never the injuries. It was like, for one reason or another. Remember, he was like a 3rd-round pick a couple years back. He was like in NL-only leagues, he was a borderline 1st-round pick. It was an actual debate who was the best pitcher in the NL West, Ian Kennedy or Clayton Kershaw. Like, it looked like the Yankees got taken to the cleaners on that Curtis Granderson trade for that 1 year, when Ian Kennedy was, like I said, the 2nd in NL Cy Young voter.
You mentioned Josh Johnson just a few moments ago, and he was the best pitcher in baseball for a few years.
A few months out of every year. I mean, that's one of those things where, he was an injuries guy. The injuries is what always killed him. Taking a look at my team here. The only guy I got on my bench so far is Chris Davis. What's your strategy as far as, do you fill up your bench with value hitters, or do you start, picking up your? Do you start picking off your? Do you start picking off pitchers here?
With my bench, I tend to go with the same strategy each year and just load up on the best player available.
Kendrys Morales just got taken.
Kendrys Morales is actually not active this season and will not be playing, so real poor pick.
No. He is active. He is active. He just isn't on a roster right now. That's the difference. Now, this is a guy who last year in Seattle, I really liked him. I really thought, LA was making a mistake picking Mark Trumbo over Kendrys Morales. I mean, this is a guy who, my first thought, Kendrys Morales hitting behind Albert Pujols. Kendrys Morales, before he had the leg injury celebrating at home plate, people were saying this is a young Albert Pujols. What?
What's this guy at?
Torrey Hunter? Yeah, I know, I'm taking him. Come on.
I just noticed something that slipped my eyes last time around. Torrey Hunter still left. We're talking about a guy who's 300 batting average and good for 90 runs, 90 RBIs almost every season.
Right. One of the most consistent hitters in baseball. Now I just locked up between him and V-Mart. That, to me, is going to be one of the more potent 4-5 spots in the AL. You get rid of Prince Fielder. Now Victor Martinez slides up into that 4 spot. You're going to have Torrey Hunter hitting protection behind him. I still love that 3-4-5, especially with Kinsler and his crazy run scored average. His OBP is out of this world. And Austin Jackson before them. I cannot tell you how much I love, the Tigers going into this year.
Unbelievable. Can't believe I missed that.
That was bad. That was bad. I noticed it actually as we were flipping back and forth with the mouse there.
Okay, here Armas Ramirez is still left on the board, and I just feel like he might be the best player available. Not to mention, while I'm still a firm believer in Will Middlebrooks, he might be a risk.
You'd rather take him over Swisher, Reddick,
I would.
Jose Barris, if you're looking for a little bit more relief help.
I'm not looking for any more relief help. I'm going with Armas Ramirez.
I already know who I'm going with next time. I just talked him up, and I hope he makes it back to me. Don't be an idiot, no. Chase Headley, not the worst.
Yeah.
What are you going to carry 3 third basemen?
Yeah.
Can't do that. But I mean, Chase Headley, what was he, 2 years ago? What were his stats 2 years ago? I want to say, what was he, a 290 hitter with, he had, what did he have, 20 stolen bases? Something like that. Oh, hold on, actually, for a sec. I want to look up Headley. He had the down year last year. I love what the Padres have done. Yeah, he was 286, 17 stolen bases, 31 homers, and 115 RBIs. Who just hit a home run? What do we got going on here? It's a walk. All right. Chase Headley. In 2012, 95 runs, 31 homers, 115 RBIs, and 17 stolen bases. Incredible. John Lackey?
Possibly.
See, I thought he was hurt.
No, not John Lackey. Okay, now it's getting real late in the draft, and I still have yet to take a catcher, so Wilson Ramos it is.
Not the worst pick this late. I mean, I was just talking about him for a while. I really like him. I think he's got ace potential. Watching Andrew Cashner out here, he's fantastic. A 1-0 game versus the Dodgers. But to me, the guy who I think is really going to step it up on that staff is Ian Kennedy. So I'm going to grab him. And like I said, that's a guy who, if you take him, you start him every single time he plays at Petco, and then you play the matchups on the road. For your 5th starting pitcher, you could do a lot worse. Yeah, not the worst. Solid, and does he have positional? Oh, I thought for some reason he had second base eligibility or something. He did 2 years ago, right?
I think it was third base.
Third base, okay. I want to take a look, actually. I want to see. I want to look at that starting pitcher guide one more time. All right, Chris Tillman. At baseball's best secondary stuff from an OPS against standpoint back in 2012 on a mere 249 OPS and 135 plate appearance, thanks in large part to a curveball that held batters to 0-38 with 2 walks. With his fastballs on the other end of the spectrum, allowing 900 OPS, 28th among 165 pitches, at least 800 thrown. That tempered the excitement from his precious 86-inning stint, especially since you had to expect some regression to be off-speed stuff. The regression did come, but the fastball improved, and Tillman ended up pitching very well in his first full season. He even earned an all-star bid, though it was somewhat dubious since it seemed directly tied to his 11-13 and 11-3 record. But despite the selection not being his fault whatsoever, he was kind of disparaged for it, since many people were other way deserving candidates. This is probably true. Backlash overshadowed his strong half and half. His flashy first half record with modern results made up for his okay record in the second half, despite marked improvements. All right, so we're talking about 111 innings pitched to 94.7. You know, a difference from 395, dropped it half point to 342. Dropped his whip 3 points, 135 to 107. His K percentage went from 19 to 24. Walk rate dipped 2%, 9 to 7. You know, the big thing is the batting average from 263 to 214. Didn't let guys on base at 271 and only a 408 slugging against him. Still with a 5-4 record. Ended the season at 16-7. You know, that's not really a record you see from great guys, you know, but I think the numbers are pretty awesome here. Now, especially when you look at the fact that he had 10 home runs last year that were labeled just enough, right? Like, not even talking like what is that? They were tied for 4 that were lucky, second most in that category. So between just enough and lucky, we're talking, you know, like a 5 to 10 foot range over the wall is what they made it by. That's not bad. And you look at his mechanics now. Overall, he's getting a C here. So,
How about this?
oh, dude, I did that last week actually. His head bails out into the release point, artificially raising his arm slot with a degree of spine tilt and naturally elevated angle of shoulder abduction, further raises the baseball and leaves his hand. Never resulted in a boost to his angle downhill plane, but it comes at the cost of distance and consistency at release point. Huh. Wei Yan Chen. A C+ grade. Just looking at the entire Orioles staff here, I don't think any of them actually gone off the board. I don't want to take another guy who's good at home and terrible on the road or vice versa. I already have one guy slotted for the last pick who I'm going to use that on, and I've mentioned his name a couple times so far. In Phil Hughes. I don't think you're interested in him, Woody, so I'm not going to worry about that.
My pitcher's more or less locked up at this point.
Yeah, right.
I What am I doing drinking this at 10 o'clock? Understood.
All right, so the guys who've come off the board, Nate Jones, Evan Gattis, Jan Gomes, Tyler Clifford, Chase Headley, John Lackey, LaTroy Hawkins, Derek Jeter, and A.J. Brzezinski to the consummate homer, Cal. You want a Brzezinski?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
But Norris got like.
But North Carolina too. Hey, baby.
Hey.
What up? What? I don't know.
We were cuddling under it. It's cold.
Yeah.
You put it on the kitchen.
I might have put it there.
But the thing is, like, you guys are the same.
What?
So it doesn't really matter. Both of you, I couldn't even guess which one because I was just assumed both of you would do something like that.
I don't think it was me, was it?
It's probably me.
I don't know.
If it was here, it was me. Alright, let's get back to the draft for a second.
What's up?
I'm just nothing. Just looking through here at you know, pitchers. Mike Moustakas
that
off
was
the board.
John Lackey.
John
Oh, Mike
Lackey.
Moustakas, a guy I really like this year.
Missed a great dinner.
Did we?
Had a heart-to-heart with Steve.
Yeah.
He was asking me for his advice about his interview tomorrow, and I'm like, don't say things that they don't ask you. If they don't ask you, you don't tell them.
This is fantastic. My girlfriend's here, by the way, for anyone who's wondering who that is talking about anything other than baseball. Yeah, we're live streaming on YouTube.
With who?
Whoever's
Roto
watching.
Junkies.
Oh. Dang.
Most likely no one.
Most likely no one. Agreed. Let's check Twitter, actually. We got any questions in here? So we'll get more quick with it.
And here start to come the auto drafts.
All right. Well, Cal's telling me now that his last 3 were auto-picked.
Shenanigans.
I'm calling shenanigans since they're all Red Sox. Wait. The app just closed on me here.
And it's your pick, Mark.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, nice pick with Colton Long, a University of Hawaii alumni.
Fuck you, no. That's a joke. Oh my god, really?
Let's see who you got. Chris Tillman. That's who you wanted.
No, I didn't want Chris Tillman, actually. This is ridiculous. Fuck up, Hollywood. See, my thing is, I don't understand how there's still a closer available right now. Like, there is still a starting closer for a baseball team available right now. For a National League baseball team. In the NL North.
I don't even really know who to take. And I'm going to go with Jake Peavy, who's the best starting pitcher left.
I disagree. Wholeheartedly. Let's see. Starting pitchers left who are better than him. I'm going to go with AJ Griffin. Von Nova. Mike Leake at home. Jason Vargas. Jesus Christ. Can you believe that my last pick of this draft is going to be someone ranked 898 by Yahoo? Like, in a 12-team league.
Great.
Alright, I got to load up on some batters here because I now have Chris Tillman, which pisses me off. Both some guys who I like. Not you, Todd Frazier. You can go fuck your mother.
Done out of the line. And
What is the verdict on Chris Owens? Is he going to make the team or not?
I'm not sure. No, he's not.
No?
No.
It's a shame.
I'm thinking next year.
That is a shame. I like him.
And I think I have to go with the last closer available just as trade bait later on.
Yeah, right? You think you kind of do. I was going to take him if you didn't. So instead, let me just look at my team. What are we looking at is... Oh, we got to go the long way back to me,
Yeah.
right? Thanks, you picked him for me. You know, Mark Reynolds is still out there. I think he's going to platoon this year, though. Matt Joyce, I still kind of like. Drew Stubbs, I still kind of like. Micah Billis, John Jonesy. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Take Corey Hart. Who did Connor get as the second baseman?
Colton Wong, University of Hawaii alumni.
What
Used to drink with him at my fraternity parties. It was epic.
Yeah, sounds like it. He's not starting, is he?
Colton Wong is the starting second baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Is he really?
Started for them in the World Series last year. Don't you remember him getting picked off at first base?
No, I don't. I was a little busy, carrying Nishu's girlfriend out of a freaking bathroom. She was busy puking and passing out in front of the door. Because she's getting married to Nishu, and I drink too.
Nishu, you're only watching right now.
What?
Nishu, the only person watching you right now.
She just said, "God damn it!
I got too many pictures.
Oh, yeah, on you.
This isn't right."
Unfortunately, I won't start.
I think I'm only gonna grab one more, to be honest with you. I'm really content with my top three. Between Wainwright, Kane, Ryu, Kluber, and then I got a Nurse, Kennedy, and Tillman on their home roads. I think I should be fine with one more, right?
Yeah.
I got two top-end closers in Jansen and Kimbrel. I don't think I'm going to need a hand there, and there's always a closer who pops up somewhere around the middle of May. Like when we were at your sister's wedding, and I found out that,
Oh, I fucked up.
What?
Nah, I just remembered.
Who?
I'm not gonna tell you because you're definitely too.
Who?
You picked before me, man. I can't tell you.
Oh, you're such a fool. Honestly, I'm pretty set. Like, the only one who I'm really looking at is Nova.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at.
I know you aren't. So, we only have 2 bench spots left.
I know.
Oh, I know who I'm taking, and it's probably who you were thinking of too.
Yeah.
Can't say.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm taking it,
Okay.
and I'm gonna grab him last.
Okay. So we're not on the same.
We're not on the
here.
same page. The only one who I might deviate from that would be Smoke or Nova. See, the thing is, my thing was, Ryu carrying his shutout into the 8th inning. Kid's killing it right now. I am so happy that I have him.
Yep. I'm a little upset I didn't take a couple more batters earlier because I'm starting to get a bench full of pitchers and relievers, which is a little.
Well, that's my thing with this
There
draft.
goes Hughes.
What? Who took Hughes?
My cousin Johnny.
Fucking Yankees fans, man. He's gonna be so good. Melky Cabrera off the board. Wow.
BJ Upton's still there.
Really? You're like excited about that?
I mean, you just never know what's gonna happen.
Dude, he had a 184 batting average last year
Yeah,
and
but-
9 homers, so forth. You're gonna grab someone like that? Just take Adam Dunn.
Adam Dunn's gone.
Is he?
Yeah.
Let me guess. Luch got him.
I don't remember.
Oh, come on. If Luch didn't get him,
Adam Dunn was done.
oh, boo. That sucks. I love beating Luch in baseball. Like, that's my only goal this year. I don't even want to, like, I could, you're probably going to find a way to win this thing because you're, like, weird and kind of Rain Man-ish when it comes to fantasy sports. So I don't even care about that. What I really care about is the fact that I hate Luch when it comes to this stuff. So I just want to beat him badly. This commercial about investing is really confusing me. I don't understand what it means to be grown up.
This is the man I love. Speaking.
Oh man, I can't wait to get home.
What?
I'm tired. I got class at 8 a.m.
I'm bicycle status right now.
And I got.
What's that even mean?
I'm too tired. What? Bicycle status?
Really, I've had to poop for hours, and I've got a fear of pooping anywhere other than my house.
We'll switch. You take the iPad. I'll stay on the computer and go poop in the bathroom. I did in like the 7th round.
We got 2 picks left. I can fight through this.
Oh yeah, babe. You want to go blow out the candle in the bathroom? I'm afraid the bathroom's gonna burn down. And I love you. All right, so Farquhar or
By the
whatever.
way,
That freaking guy.
I know what you had earlier today.
Yeah, a little Z.
Stop.
I got it in. She's pointing a knife at me.
Because you know what? The little Caesar's gonna kill you before this night.
Yeah. Fair.
Well, people leaving the draft without clicking the auto pick button.
Love them. Love them.
Bastards.
No, well, the thing is, John was telling me his laptop froze up. You know, I did. Oh, Mark Reynolds is off the board. Damn it! I love getting Mark Reynolds as my token
CDC.
last pick of the
We don't
draft.
use that.
Yeah, I know. Just for fuck's sakes.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
It's sealed. So clearly, nothing's happening.
Oh, Connor, you bastard!
Who? Rajay Davis? You were upset about that? I brought up Rajay Davis before. I can't believe you're upset about that. I'm taking him. YOLO.
There's no extra clothes. Your clothes. I'm up for.
No, it's your clothes in there too.
No, there's one selection.
Babe, there's like two things yours, two things yours. I don't know, babe. I don't understand how to fold things the way you like. I just leave stuff in there. What is the verdict on Eric Young? Is he going to be the starter?
They sell
I
these
don't know.
at Mrs. Green. No.
Why?
There's sucralose in them. Why are they selling products with sucralose at Mrs. Green's? It's totally.
Okay. Yeah, heard enough. What do you take?
Nick Markakis.
You coward.
Who did you want me to take?
I don't know. Can you look up real quick if Eric Young is going to make the team or if he's going AAA? What's going? What? Just look up Mets depth chart. Because I mean that's another 250 hitter who's going to get you 46 stolen bases and decent amount of runs.
It's supposed to be your pick.
Yeah. Okay. Is he going to or no?
I'm trying to find that out.
Dude, this is not.
I
This is
don't-
an article on whether or not he can. Just look
Do-
up.
right. This was released minutes ago, hours
Yeah.
ago, and they just don't know. Isn't listed as a starter. Oh, yeah.
Just pick. I don't want Justin Smoke.
Oh, who took Mujica? Did Thomas just take him? Oh, Thomas again!
He got
Gets
you?
me again!
You really excited about what you got?
Yeah, because I don't think fucking Koji's gonna last.
Yeah, well, boy.
Right.
It's gonna rain. Oh, big fat portfolio below.
You have another person.
What?
I was just doing this to be a
Oh,
dick.
you're such a bastard. You're such a bastard. Why would you do that?
Just because they pissed.
Why would
Those
you
the
do
two
that?
guys I was gonna pick. They just took on me, so I gotta
You're such a dirtbag.
figure. I don't know what else to do. I'll fuck you.
Mike,
You're such a dirtbag. What's up, babe?
there is a couple of screws
Yeah.
and a key that came out of your pocket. They're downstairs. On the
Mhm. Alright, thank you. I don't even know what to take now. I'm super angry at you. Keep having another picture.
So I hear your Steve's reference.
I'm wondering, I guess.
How's my flies for me?
Awesome, dude. Keith Bell?
He's I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna take a shot on a guy who I like. I've liked for a while. Ooh, wait a second now. Did I fuck up? Yeah, I fucked up.
You good?
Yeah, I fucked up.
You good?
What?
Huh? Yeah, I know. I was hiding.
I know that the top of mine are missing, and they're missing somewhere in between Michael leaning tower feature.
Yeah. All right, we're out of here. It was fun drafting with you guys.
Sir, get out of my home. You took a Von Nova from me, and for that, I'll never forgive you.
I don't know what I'm exiting out. I
but
don't want to ruin it.
Thankfully, I don't have any Yankees on my roster. Unlike you, you fucking traitor.
How many do I have? I've got one.
You should just have the. You should just have one. Do I have any?
Yeah, I just got the one. All right, I gotta go.
All right, go poop.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
I told him when we left the meeting at 7:30 I really gotta poop.
Yep.
I can't poop anywhere.
Yep.
but home.
Yep, I'm gonna leave this open with your login on here,
No, don't be
and I'm gonna trade myself. No one too special.
Just about Nova.
No, not even a Von. No, like I'll let you keep a Von Nova. I'll take like
What are yours?
I don't know. I mean,
I've got a bullseye right here, and it says, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid."
yeah.
From a Christmas tree. Yeah.
Who's your
I'll let Mike verify. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd you get those?
It came in like a box set with the Christmas Story DVD.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna find them.
I don't know. Like, what do you think is fair? Like, Phil. Who do I got? I got Ian Kennedy for like you Darvish. I have your login up, so I'll send it. I'll see if I accept. All right, peace, kid.
Don't fuck with it.
Bye, Steve.
See you later, Gabby.
All right, guys, thanks for checking out Roto Junkies. If you have anything, send it to either the Facebook page, Twitter. Take a picture of your question and post it on Instagram. Pinto will get to it. Love hanging out with you guys. Yeah, have a great rest of your night.